Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for Ghost Rider Issue 4. And I really enjoyed this issue because it did a good amount of movement on the plot going forward from two places, Johnny's and Danny's. We get a pretty good, clear idea of kind of what's driving Johnny in this, while Danny pretty much gets screwed over per usual, even though it's their only kind of course of action. So the issue starts off, and we see that the caretaker is in her place in Brooklyn and using her magic and powers to open up a portal to Limbo because they're going to need the help of an entity of necrosis. That is pretty much the only thing that can take on a Ghost Rider that has been powered up by all of hell. And she tells Danny that he needs to go find Lord Belasco to do this. So it's like, oh, that's great. And the reason she's not going with him is she's pretty safe and secure in her ability to open up a portal from Earth to Limbo, but she is not secure enough in that she would be able to do it from Limbo to Earth. So it's like that actually makes tactical sense. So he's sent off to go do his thing. We then switch over and we see that Johnny and Wong are tag teaming and taking out all these demons, and we kind of get some more kind of dialogue of what's kind of going on. Wong's like, hey, thanks, and pretty much Johnny's like, yeah, all right, now let me see. I need to get Mephisto. And Wong's like, no, I can't let you do that. And they kind of start fighting, and it's like, oh. Now, granted, it doesn't get to a kind of really big point because, well, Johnny's kind of overpowered at the moment, and when he needs to stop the fight, he stops it. And Wong, of course, is trying to say, hey, listen, I'm sorry that we left you in hell. We were just working on the plan, but of course, time goes differently in hell. And he's like, I was left in there for centuries, man. And what do you think that would kind of do to someone down there? So, of course, Johnny uses his amped up powers, uses his chains to wrap up Wong, and does the pendant stare on him. Now, granted, this isn't going to really screw over Wong too much, but definitely enough to take him out of commission for Johnny to do what he needs to do. Goes in, and we start seeing what his kind of plans are. He's like, listen, I need all the information that you have, Mephisto. And we've even learned, even in this issue, that as Mephisto stays out of hell longer, his powers grow weaker and everything. Well, of course, Johnny grows stronger because that's now his seat of power. It's like, ooh, I like seeing interesting dynamics like this to see how that kind of works out. And he's like, listen, I want to keep all the souls in hell. I want to make sure it's all secure and everything. And you're going to tell me everything. It's like, you're not going to be able to get me out. Wong and Strange have like put all these millions of enchantments on this, and Johnny just rips the door off, and Mephisto's like, hey, let's hit some bars, and he's like, no, 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 you're gonna wish you were back in that cell when I'm done with you. Wraps him in a chain and freaking bolts off with his motorcycle. I'm like, yeah. I like what they're doing with Johnny in that he's kind of antagonistic here, but he's not trying to be an evil bastard about it. He has been left in hell for too long, and he doesn't really trust anybody. I, that's an understandable kind of thing. And he's getting stronger, but he doesn't see himself as strong enough to keep all these demons in hell. Case in point, and everybody trying to break out and put Mephisto or Lilith on the throne, and he's got all these things, and he's trying to do everything himself. He really needs to ask for help, and that's the big kind of key issue that we see here. Of course, that's kind of where we're left off with Johnny pretty much taking Mephisto to figure out what's going on with that. We then see that Danny is kind of wandering around hell, kind of lamenting the fact that he keeps getting in these situations that he has like almost no control over his destiny. Johnny pretty much gave him his life back, even though unintentionally, even though he threw him off a bridge too. And he kind of tossed that away to try and help all these souls and everything in balance and all that, because Johnny's trying to make sure that hell's secure so that all the souls are okay, and that we don't have all these crazy demon people running around. And Johnny's really not he I wouldn't say that he's apathetic, but he has no sense of control over what's going on. Kind of similar to Johnny at this point. You talk about that. But he, of course, gets to a point and he runs into Lord Belasco and his retinue. And the one big one's like Neil and like everything. It's like, why are you here? He's like, yeah, why the hell is a fleshy human walking around here in limbo? And I like we see the difference. I like how they drew Mephisto in here because he just looks imposing and crazy, and I like the kind of difference with Belasco looking kind of similar. Of course, he's a Lord of Limbo, but yet he's got this kind of like intricate kind of attire on that's kind of like medievally Renaissance kind of affair. He's like, hey, why are you here? He's like, I'm supposed to ask you for help with being necrosis or whatnot. He's like, okay. I really couldn't care less, but I mean, sure, if you want it, you gotta fight for it, boy. Gives him a giant axe that he could barely use, and of course we see the necrosis that we've seen previously, this kind of centaur dude with like 6 arms. Johnny gets pretty much shit stomped. I mean, he tries, but I mean, this dude's like beating the crap out of him, and we get this really gnarly scene where he gets hit with a mace. It's just like, oh crap, that's a bad hit. And before we see this cut in this like liquid stuff, and we see that Belasco has cut off Necrosis's head. He's like, yeah, well, I just wanted to see if you'd be able to put up any kind of fight. And it's like, well, like any kind of realm, we also have our own kind of desires and everything. And, well, it's interesting that you came into my lap, Danny, because with you, we kind of have home field advantage. So like, oh, so the dude in Limbo kind of wants to, like, use someone that's been, I don't know, connected to the powers of hell through the Ghost Rider to probably try and, I don't know, do stuff with hell himself. So he dips his hand into, like, Necrosis' blood and puts it onto Danny, and we see him transform. He's like, what are you doing? He's like, yeah, now you're my spirit of corruption. So it's like, ooh, okay. And we see him transform and turn into this. I really like the outfit and the sword. It's a really kind of cool combo, but it's like, okay, what is a spirit of corruption? How's that going to fight with a spirit of vengeance and all that? It's like, ooh, interesting, different kind of lore and interesting new developments. I'm like, okay, how is this? He's going to be able to fight Johnny, but how much control is he going to have over himself, and how much is Belasco going to have control over Danny? It's like, ooh, okay, interesting kind of change up. Have to see where this kind of goes, and what kind of powers Danny will have that are different than Johnny. Will he have something similar to the Penance Stare? What does it mean to be empowered with the forces of Limbo, and what kind of differences will that have? I'm like, ooh, this is kind of cool. We've got interesting plot movement that's going forward. And like, yeah, we got new answers, but we've also got new questions, and I can't wait to see how those questions are answered. So those are my opinions on the issue. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.